just start that.
Mm.
And all right. I mean, I guess we could get started because I don't know. It doesn't have to be a perfect 5 minutes. I'm guessing Lawrence is helping with the badges and stuff today, so um,
Yeah, he pretty much said he was likely not going to be here, which I took as a not going to be here.
yeah,
I kind of binged, watched the videos,
yeah.
um, got a
Oh,
bit of the
what?
context.
2x speed or something?
I did it all on 1x, but
Okay. So we kind of. Do you want to give an overview, or I mean, it's just like I guess it kind of went into the premise behind why you have the semantic web and where it came from, and before getting into ontologies and REF of it, but
yeah, the first 5 or 6 are just really generic, and they essentially go over like the structuring of languages, like subject, uh, symbol, and then object, and the basics of URIs and the basics of how Web 2 and Web 1 worked and where all that came from. We've probably all encountered the history that he went over throughout different things that we've read.
yeah,
Um, the interesting part is just like when the internet was built, it was kind of a Cold War era, and we're kind of in a proxy war era now. So kind of similarities from early days of the internet now. But the later videos kind of delved hard into, I think it was more RDF theory, but I was surprised from the presentations how large the RDF network or of data was that they presented on. But I've myself never really interacted with it, but I might have. Just I might not be fully understanding
yeah. There was a lot of
what is
RDFA
being presented
markup.
on the RDF side.
RDFA markup was even used by Google, and schema.org, which kind of came later. There was a guy named Dan Brinkley who worked for Google, and there was a lot of schema.org markup in there. And I think there was also a thing called Open Graph Protocol namespace with Facebook, and there was RDFA markup in there, and it actually had a utility of kind of helping search engines a bit. So you probably did use it unknowingly. You probably didn't see anything like DBpedia because that was like kind of academic kind of thing. I mean, a lot of
Yeah,
this kind of stayed academic, and that was kind of sort of a problem. Some people think, oh, this for the reasons you say, maybe semantic web has like not been realized. Um, so but I don't know what its future is or what the what the I mean, what the underlying structure is. I mean, it's used a lot. I know in um, JSON LD areas, and I've seen it with Manu Sporty. He has verifiable credentials, and some people like to use that. Some people just like to use JSON schema, which is I don't know. I'm getting kind of in the weeds, but like where it might be used. But
oh no, that I follow
so it's just
JSON
like
LD
yeah.
drives with me because that's a IPLD encoding as well,
So like
and
um, so I don't know.
which this is like completely different from from my world on IPFS because IPFS is like highly undiscoverable. The data really, like what's in it. So RDF is like a totally different concept that would be like on top of that. It seems like to me of like, and it jives that it's like schema.org and the JSON LD, like being able to use to link RDF data together.
Wait, did you say IPFS is highly undiscoverable?
As far as like the data that's in it, what RDF is about is like discovering like data by keywords and everything. Like
Right.
a lot has like the geography, government, like IPFS. You get the hash and you can find the data really easily, but you don't know that that's government data or anything specific.
Right. Yeah, I was digging into. I actually did a deep dive into IPLD the other day for work. Because I work for this blockchain oracle, and it's focused on factual data, putting factual data on chain, and then storing kind of like the metadata and context and semantics and stuff off chain, and making that available using like schema.org and standards and stuff like that. But one of the things that I kind of realized of how RDF and content addressing, like a CID and IPLD, and basically the basis of IPFS, like the way they relate to each other is like RDF is what did I write down? Because I like wrote it and I'm trying to like recall and my brain is not working. But basically, here, let me see. Search. It'll be. Yeah, I mean, basically, like the IPLD and CIDs and everything, content addressing is like, okay, you can get something, but you don't know what it is, and RDF is like what it is, and being able to get something by what it is like something that IPFS and IPLD doesn't really do without something like RDF. And I think I'm probably just restating what you said, but that's, yeah, like it makes sense to me that way. Which is cool. Like you need both. Like content address hashes are great, but if you can't annotate that and make it searchable by other things than just the content address ID, then it's like only so good.
Yeah, and one of the videos he touched on like how large these Web 2 indexes of the web are getting, and like how the Web 2 centralization has created these gigantic warehouses of data artificially rather than like a natural function of stuff. So like if you have IPFS and have all the data distributed, or like a content addressing type system distributing the data and an RDF on top of it, your search models are potentially a lot more compact or offensive.
Yeah, because they reuse stuff, right? Like, because when you pass stuff through IPLD, it puts it into blocks that may be reusable across different just pieces of knowledge entirely.
Yeah. But it was a very much academic video, so a lot of the content was very stretched out.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, Harold Sack is from Hasselplaster in the Netherlands, maybe?
That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, I skipped through the last video pretty much in its entirety because he was just talking about tiny little implementation details of Turtle or whatever, and I'm just like, all right, like that's great, but like I'm looking for the conceptual, like a comprehensive conceptual overview of like the entire like semantic web space and all of the tools, which I think it is coming, later on. But like, yeah, I thought the videos were really interesting, and I'm excited to see where the rest of it goes. I also have that book on the semantic web for the working ontologist that I started reading too, so I'm definitely looking forward to like digging into the rest of the the meat of it all and actually using it. Because I think the reason why the semantic web has like not taken off and not really like come to fruition is because it's so damn hard and demanding of developers and esoteric, and it's like difficult like to put that weight on people to like define all the semantics and stuff is just untenable. It's just not going to happen. um, and even he was saying in the thing, he was like, oh, if you create a website, like make sure you create a resource about yourself and blah blah blah. And I'm like, yeah, that's just not going to happen with people. Like people aren't going to do that. It needs to be done automatically for them if the semantic web is going to be realized at all.
Yeah, and there was that handbook of Semantic Web Technologies book um, that was out there, and if you get into it, it goes into like all the after they thought about the semantic web, like all the problems of implementing and realizing it. So it's just like, oh, here's the researcher from this place, and here this place, and this place, and this is how you do this, and blah blah blah. So it's like, wow, I mean, not only is it kind of the problem of getting the developers to put in the data, it's like, well, how do you make it usable, and how do you deal with like certain problems like blank nose and discoverability and indexing and browsers and all of that. So
And just
Yeah, the usability is a huge problem.
yeah, agreed. The big one is like just bringing a business use case for it, for like a business person say, I have to use that, I guess, to get this. Because right now everything's been, well, you use this because it's decentralized, or use it because it's more fair, or something like that.
Right. Yeah, like the way I've been thinking about like basically what's the word? Flywheel. Like the concept of a flywheel, like the more you feed into it, the faster it goes. Like I'm thinking like a flywheel for the semantic web is just building things that are only able to be built with the semantic web, that people don't give a shit if the semantic web exists or not, like the majority of people. And they don't care about RDF and all of these things, and they shouldn't have to. But what these things enable is like incredible and revolutionary, and brings freedom and agency and so many more things. And so it's like creating things that use this massive ocean of data that exists across like linked open data, DBpedia, Wikidata, like all these things, and just building like simple things on it that people are like, whoa, how is this even possible? It's like, I don't know, because you're leaning on like stuff that already exists. Like you don't need to scrape all this data, like it's there. It's like this vast ocean. It's just a matter of putting an application layer on top to make it usable to people and solve real problems with it, which I think is what I'm trying to like figure out.
Yeah.
I think that's all I can talk about on the semantic web stuff. If we want to get on a tangent a little bit, we can talk a little bit about the local first stuff.
Ooh, yeah.
That was a pretty interesting share.
Oh, the link to that? The CRDTs
Yeah.
and Martin Klepperman, or what is it?
Kleppman.
Klutman, okay. Yeah, that was, I think I was searching for what local first was, and that was pretty big in the fishing community. Um,
Fission's shutting down. Did you hear?
I did
What?
hear that. Yeah, it's super. This is like why I was just gonna like try to majorly plug in there, even though I sort of blame myself because it's just like I don't know, because I was like not fast acting enough. I feel like I've been dancing around their technologies and wanting to integrate it with, but I just had too many things running in my brain. Maybe that's what happened. Just not me, but enough of those people who wanted to use it, but were trying to like taking too long. and the
Well, I think the
people
story was
just
at
kind of
first
what?
Protocol Labs funded most of them, and
Okay.
then during nucleation, they were told, "Hey, we'll give you this grant, and we'll give you grants for different projects and stuff." And during nucleation, the crypto market didn't really like improve as much as I think Protocol Labs expected it to. But so and a lot of these companies are have been in the same boat. The VC money for the more further out research kind of dried up, and they're just kind of left out to dry. Skynet, kind of the same thing
It's kind of
uh, late last year.
yeah, but it's kind of weird. But the Ethereum price is really high right now. Or was. But there's no
It's
correlation.
definitely been rebounding throughout this year, but that takes a little bit of time to get confidence back to VCs to go further down in the chain of companies, which you can have been very impressed with and a lot of the research out of them. But it's a difficulty if you only do the far out there research. It's easy to get cut.
Yeah, but I guess most of a lot of their core work is open source, so it should be possible to still use. I mean,
Yeah,
although
nothing
you
of
might
history is lost by their shutdown, but the
what?
momentum is gone.
What'd you say?
Um, Unfortunately, we with the open source, we haven't lost any of their like historical stuff, but they'll
Yeah, it's just like
definitely go their separate ways, probably as team members.
yeah, it might be harder to reach out to them and get questions answered.
Uh, the local first stuff, though, involves the UCANs and DIDs and content addressing of data, so they don't have to use centralized services and all that. And I thought their uh, PDF was really cool.
Yeah, I first heard about local first like at DWeb Camp a couple years ago, and some people were talking about it. It was like an undercurrent of discussion, and I still haven't like integrated stuff from it or built anything with it because it's still so like under development, and there's like so many interesting things that are like CRDTs to kind of like have like real time collaborative editing between people on like stuff, like all different types of stuff. It could be a text document or like an RDF graph, for instance. Um, but did was the page about the local first principles in that PDF?
Um, I
'Cause-
believe it was the last part of it was that they wanted a Firebase for CRDTs, basically somewhere to host files, host databases, and host
okay, yeah.
like all the different things that CRDTs can be used for in a semantic web.
I just posted the article that I was referring to. This is a really good one about like what classifies as local first, like what it like you can't call a piece of technology local first if it's not these, I think, 7 things basically.
Yeah, and I think they did really good classifying those.
Yeah, definitely. I keep coming back to it. It's like such a good one.
Which
Yeah,
my current spinoff research from that is I've been like, working with DIDs a lot and updating the DID IPNS resolver to use Helia, which is the new JavaScript implementation. Trying to get a demo out to the public of how you can like create a DID on IPNS that's hosted by your chosen provider, and then how you can use that to log into your front ends without a service necessarily needing to be online.
oh, that's cool. Wait, Helia, it says that the repo's been archived on January 8th.
It's probably
Oh,
like an
never mind.
Helia now.
Yeah, it's a new repo. I found it.
They went through so many different changes there. It is very confusing. Like sometimes you'll click a doc link and you have to go 4 or 5. This has been moved.
Yeah. So, having recently like dove into IPLD, which is definitely like the core of like IPFS as I understand it, like
Yeah.
how would you describe what IPFS is, like assuming I understand IPLD, and what are like the downsides of IPFS? Because I still have this like sense and this sinking feeling that like hitching my wagon to IPFS is like a risk, but not necessarily IPLD. Like I have a sense that like IPLD is like definitely worth like hitching my wagon to, but IPFS I'm not sure, because I don't know, it just seems like there's like a lot of efficiency issues that are inherent in the protocol. And then I also see other people working, like, I don't know if you've heard of IRO.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't really know how that relates to IPFS and what problems, because I heard from somebody else that they're like trying to basically come at the IPFS solution from a different angle because of some trade-offs in the IPFS. So I'm just curious on your thoughts on all of that.
There's staying power in time, and IPFS has been around since 2013 now.
Yeah.
Still being used by folks and integrated a ton during the big crypto freeze and all the marketplaces. So it's just got so much staying power in the markets. But yeah, it's got some inconsistencies in its protocols. I'd say maybe in 3 years it will be more efficient than, well, more as efficient as HTTP, because like right now it uses a bit swap layer, which every single block or IPLD instance has to be exchanged. But there's a new car transport over HTTP where it can just give it instructions to request basically an entire DAG or cyclic graph, and that's a single request now versus thousands.
I see.
And as far as efficiency of the blocks and everything, it's just as efficient as S3. S3 breaks down all the blocks in the back end and separates them out into separate servers and everything, and does this at very, very fast speeds.
Okay. What about IRO and all what they're doing? Like, there's got to be a reason why they broke off and decided to do their own thing.
IRO is just the Rust implementation.
Oh.
I think they might have some additional transport layers. They definitely implement BitSwap and the rest of the IPFS stack. So there's IO, which is Rust, Helia, which is JavaScript, and Kuba, which is Go.
Oh. So, wait, so IRO, Helia, and Kula are just like different implementations of the IPFS specification, or am I not understanding that?
I believe they are just different implementations. I know Kubo and Helia are.
Okay, interesting.
Yeah, IRO is just an implementation, but it's Rust, and typically Rust developers have been pretty good about writing some decent code.
Right. Well, I mean, kind of the Rust's compiler basically kicks your ass if you don't write decent code.
Yeah, it's not a nice language to suck at.
I bought the Rust programming language book and have been trying to work through that too, because I can tell that it's going to be the future, like, or at least that's my sense of it. And I don't know, like JavaScript is going to become an implementation detail, I think, as like WebAssembly and Rust like take off.
Weirdly, Rust and other memory safe languages have a lot of political pull, so they're definitely going to go somewhere.
Yeah, like I saw Biden like signed off on something being like build things in Rust.
Yeah,
it's like okay,
I know what
Biden,
Rust
I'm sure that was from you, dude.
Yeah. Apparently, the programmer guy that he's friends with is like real big into it and everything. They had a super nerdy conversation, and Biden was like, "Okay."
Interesting. Yeah.
Oh. I dumped the table of contents of that Semantic Web book that I was talking about. I figured it was in the fair use thing, since it's just a table of contents.
Yeah.
It's useful. Yeah.
Yeah, that video you posted, Brent, is
the
actually a really, it's the best one out there
IPLD
about
one?
IPLD that I've
Is that
found.
one the one you watched too?
Yeah, I watched that one and a bunch of other ones, and that one is definitely the best. Like the guy who presents, like I just feel like he does a really good job of like laying out like what problems they're trying to solve and like what's made possible. So yeah, it's definitely recommend that if you haven't already watched it.
One of the things I've been tossing around with IPLDs is with IPNS it generates an IPLD, but it's just encoded and signed with its private key. So you don't have to technically take that IPLD and put it on IPFS. You can take that IPLD and push it as a notification to an application. Then you've got more secure notifications, I guess.
Wait. Can you explain that again? I'm not sure if I'm following.
It's essentially just adding a couple layers of signing. I'm sure you already have to sign the notification messages to the applications, but you could technically then decentralize the notification generation, I would guess, and knowing that it's been signed by a private key. Because
so you're
all
saying
IPNS is a signed IPLD record.
Oh, okay. So you don't have to use IPFS in order to use IPNS and IPLD together.
Right. Which IPNS is really just a broadcast of that IPLD. You can take that IPLD and move it onto whatever IPLD compatible network you want, or transport it over HTTP.
Right. So like you don't have to worry about the CID, like the root node of the Merkle DAG, like changing all the time because you have a single named URI, which is IPNS. Is that kind of what they're doing?
Yeah, it's a single entity, so it doesn't have to be named.
Do you have like any recommended videos or resources to learn more about IPNS? Because I feel like I should probably read up on it now.
I'll see if I can come up with something and send it in the links channel or something. Because it's very niche still.
Yeah.
Like I work with Filebase, and we're probably the easiest user interface to create an IPNS key, and we see interest from it.
Yeah. I'm gonna search
5 or 6 times a week, but it's which I'm impressed with, but it's still very new to people using it for things.
It might be a reference.
And there's a lot of like niche understanding that has to go into it right now to use it. Like to your point earlier, tools aren't off the shelf yet.
Right. So with IPNS, where are these? So okay, I know there's like a lot of politics when it comes to naming, right? Like this is true of any naming system. Like it's why DNS is like managed by like some like, you know, I don't know, private organizations. It's why there's like verifications in Twitter, like, you got all these things with naming. And then there's like things like name squatting and like all this kind of stuff. So I guess like how open is IPNS in terms of like naming things? And like, yeah, how like
It's very
decentralized is it?
sucky on human readable code or
Okay.
key. So it comes out as the CID looking key. It's K51, which is it's identity.
I got you. So
all of these are a hash of a private keys, public keys bytes.
okay, got it.
So and then if you want to do any fancy naming with that, you can take that IPNS hash to ENS or ANS, and you can also go to DNS actually, and add a text record in. It's able to look it up through it's called DNS link. So that's like the Web 2 way of centralizing a mutable IPFS record. DNS.
Oh, okay.
But
Yeah,
there's no
that like IPNS is like, actually like a human readable name, but okay, it's not. That makes way more sense.
yeah, it's IPFS is basically, I think of it as a volunteer ran DNS, or the DHT that's attached to IPFS, and that's most of the fancy stuff of IPFS is the DHT.
So like, how does the Merkle-DAG structures of IPLD relate to like the DHT of IPFS?
The DHT is so when you make a IPLD, you then store it in IPFS. It gives you its content address, and then the IPFS implementation publishes to the DHT its peer ID that it has that content. And then when a user wants to find that content, it looks to the DHT and ask the nodes it thinks should know about this CID. Where do I get it from? And then the DHT then responds just a peer ID, and then it does another DHT lookup to find that peer, and then that's when the IPLDs are actually transferred. It's a point-to-point communication then, or a peer-to-peer, but a single communication stream. And finally, that link you shared, Brent, is an example to show things not working.
Oh no.
Right now, if you try to use Helia to publish anything to DHT, it just it doesn't really work right. Works in Kubo and Iro, but JavaScript is having some problems.
Kubo is the Rust implementation?
Kubo's
That's
the Go
Iro.
one.
Okay. Iro.
Yeah, I posted
Iro.
the link in the Iro.
And Kubo is the fully like in-house spec implementation, so it's supposed to work in Kubo all the time. But that's not always the case, but that's the intent. And Helia is an in-house one for Protocol Labs as well, but it's very new in having focused development on the JavaScript implementation. But that's just the tech I get to play around with during the week.
Nice. Do you get paid to like work on IPFS stuff, or?
Yeah, that's what we do at Firebase. So most of it is the like architecture stuff of like our infrastructure and how to store the files and do all that without doing too much work on our own.
What's is Firebase just like a pinning service for IPFS,
Yeah,
or what? Okay.
yeah, just a pinning service. The like differentiator is that there's an S3 API on the front end, so you can log in with like a JavaScript S3 client.
Okay. Cool.
But that's all it is. And we do IPNS naming. I have big dreams to eventually do Orbit DB pinning, but Orbit DB is not there yet.
Yeah.
Um, but just IPNS and IPFS. I did read a little bit about Fluent's network this week. They recently launched their token to trading platforms.
What's Fluent?
It is kind of like an Ethereum. It is an Ethereum, like subchain,
Oh, okay.
but they do it better.
Interesting. So it's like an L2 on Ethereum, or?
Find this. Sure. So it's a cloudless computing. It's a DPEN. So like you can do the smart contracts and the WASMs, I believe. I believe it's a spin-off of some Filecoin developers.
Huh.
Based on who I'm seeing in the commits.
Interesting. What's DPIN? Decentralized something? I don't know.
Physical infrastructure. So so Fluence has something called compute functions, which is similar to Lambda and Google Cloud Functions.
Mm-hmm.
And they also have workflows that run in their functions. And I guess they have equivalents to Route 53 in one of their Aqua libraries. Then regular key value store in subnets.
I got like 30% of that, maybe.
So did I, and I read it.
It's all like over my head.
They got fun with their names, and I'm confused.
Yeah.
The Aqua. Apparently, you can even rent out space on your Raspberry Pi. I doubt that will scale for long.
I'm trying to find this like storage, decentralized storage network thing that I came across that seems really promising too. I can't remember what it's called. It's basically like a decentralized like S3 is how they kind of market it, but can't remember. Let's see if I can hunt it down.
Is it Banyan?
How do you spell that? I don't think so, but
Banyan? No, I don't think they're doing S3.
No, I don't think it's that.
Another Protocol Labs company.
Yeah. They're doing all kinds of stuff. Crazy.
Apparently, we're expected to be entering a bull market this year by the analyst. The actual ones that give the U.S. dollars out.
That's interesting.
I'll believe it when I see it. But
Yeah, right. Let's see. Functions. Okay, it's called Backblaze. Have you heard of that?
oh yeah,
I was looking into that a while ago. It seemed pretty interesting, like a decentralized kind of like storage layer for like peer-to-peer. But maybe, I don't know. It's about as far as I got with it in my head, but I bookmarked it.
we actually recommend Backblaze as a S3 product in place of ours for people that don't need IPFS.
Oh, okay, cool.
Because a lot of them are like, it's so expensive. Like, you don't need IPFS. What are you doing? Like, you wanted to store the pictures for a website. The only other news item I have this week is that NFT storage announced pricing.
Oh, so they're
They are for a while
on
they've been announcing
exchanges.
that they're migrating from free services to paid services,
Oh, I see.
and they're also, it appears that they're going to launch their token or something, which tokens are fun. The upload API is going to be like $3,000 a terabyte. That's supposed to get you long-term storage, which might be what some of these NFT companies are kind of looking for more than monthly. But every CFO I've ever worked under has been very against anything other than monthly payments anyway.
Yeah, I mean, with stuff like Arweave out there, it's like really cheap because of their like endowment model of storage. So it's like, I don't know. I think companies are gonna have a hard time doing like recurring subscription charges for storage when you have things like that.
It'll be interesting to see because NFT.storage, that's a protocol lab company as well. They also have Web3.storage, which is just the IPFS side, which is a lot more reasonable pricing and everything right now. A competitor in the space, but very good tech. And I believe we
Yeah.
both have each other's libraries involved in our stuff.
One of the things that I've been trying to do, or at least starting to think about, because I have a lot of pieces in my head, but it's not really like filled out. You know what I mean? Like and illustrated, maybe like in a graph or a diagram or whatever of like how all these different layers are going to fit together. Because there's so many different things here, right? Like storage layers and like compute and like all this kind of stuff, and so many different solutions, and I don't really know at what level they are solutions or not. And so that's kind of like one thing I'm trying to, like, I feel like I've done the data gathering phase. Now I need to like synthesize and like lay it out so that I can understand, like what's done and what's not and what I need to focus on for my
Yeah,
project.
there's so much in this space, and there's
It's
so
crazy.
much good stuff on top of this, so much noise as well.
Yeah, right.
Because I'm like all the way over my little IPFS, IPNS land, barely able to use crypto coins, and I'm sure other people in the Web3 land are like, oh, I start with the smart contract.
Yeah, like I'm not really convinced that like the whole Web3 space, like with tokens and um, smart contracts and blockchain, all of that, like is really where I want to like invest my time and energy into, only because I think the majority of of the stuff I want to see happen isn't. I don't want it to be like public and permanent forever, and
Yeah,
I think that's where like I feel like local first is kind of like local first IPFS networks and stuff like that. Like to me is like a much more interesting um, vision of the web than the blockchain as the foundational layer is.
yeah. I think blockchain can be very useful for organizing some types of business transactions that previously have been pretty restricted and closed door.
Right.
One of my favorites companies in the Web3 space is LivePeer. They do Ethereum payments for using people's GPUs for transcoding strings. And you just join the network, your computer does a transcode, and you get paid for it. And Amazon announced last week that they're entering the rendering farm space. So there's obviously interest there. But
Yeah.
I think LivePeer's problem is they lead with they're decentralized, they do Ethereum, they do crypto and all of this. And maybe they need to just hide it a little. Say they're a streaming company that does transcoding.
Yeah.
But that's where for me that's where the real success of the technology comes. Whenever it's not the flashy, flamboyant, oh we're using this. It's the oh well this is built on it because that was our business decision and that's what we made as our choice.
Yeah. But like, is that transcoding layer like that's being obviously stored on blockchain, or those identifiers, some types of identifiers being stored? Like, what? Like, I guess the main concern I have with things like that is the ability for people to infer a lot of information about people, like
That's fair.
through piecing together these pieces of data, and you're basically leaving a permanent data trail about yourself.
Yeah, that's the conundrum of the whole single wallet theory. Like if you're wanting like privacy, you would generate a new wallet for like every transcoding session, but then you also get into all your transactions above that of money on track.
Right, exactly. So they can piece all that together. It's like just
Yeah.
at a higher level, and then it renders all of the steps that you took basically useless.
Right. So it would be better as a company if they just like accepted US dollar on their front end and paid out folks in Ethereum on the
Right.
back end. But maybe they do that. You see.
I mean, it's a super cool idea. I just like philosophically, that's like my hang up with like blockchain and all that. It's
Yeah,
like
no, this requires like Ethereum on both sides. That I agree with you. Like on the
yeah,
like consumer side, it's more flashy and useless at the moment, and kind of more than useless, kind of degrading. Uh, but if I want to hook up my gaming rig and do some transcoding, I'm completely fine being paid in Ethereum if it doesn't mean I have to go through a whole bunch of linking bank account process and everything.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, we'll get there one day, or
Oh
we
yeah.
won't, and we'll see where we're at. I mean, we're coming up on 1:30 here. I
Yeah,
think we've discussed everything that we feel like discussing.
yeah, I think so.
Anybody have anything for the last moments?
Hey, Jeremy, or um,
I think he was listening.
I think he's muted. Well, I'm interested to keep like, going through the playlist, but I also want to like, I don't know, I want to take some type of practical step forward in my own work and as
sure.
well through this. So
Yeah,
I wonder like some kind of like tiny little like web tool that interacts with all this, like almost like a little tiny capstone project. That's what I'm challenging myself for, like to try to use all this stuff for a really simple, like, I don't know, RDF Explorer or something like that. Because otherwise I feel like I won't really remember it or like make sense of it unless I use it.
Yeah,
right.
that's fair. I'm gonna have to find a few things to play around with it as well to see if I can get a little bit more familiar with what the concept is.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I'm gonna hop off here. I hope you all
Cool.
have a good rest of your, well, a good weekend and a good time until we meet again.
Yeah, same with you. See you guys.
Bye.
Actually, Brent, what are you working on lately?
Um, well, I'm going through this playlist, and I do have as a goal to. Well, I want to see how this maps to IPLD and the content address domain. And
Mm.
ISIP is kind of really my sole project aside from um, kind of a side thing of like trying to raise funds to get to D webcam.
Mm.
Yeah,
Did you apply for like the? I think I saw your form, like for the
for
volunteer stuff, or
fellowship, yeah. Is that what your question
nice.
was, or what?
Yeah, like So is that kind of like if you get approved for that, you'll go, but if not, you won't be able to.
I mean, I said I was raising money for it, so
Mm.
um, yeah, I think I can volunteer too.
Mm. I did last year, um, and I still got to go to stuff. It's not too bad.
Yeah,
They also have ride shares and stuff, so you don't have to pay for the bus or anything like that. Like people are just going to be driving, um, and they publish a ride share thing every year so that you could find people who are driving across the country that are actually crossing through like where you live potentially, and you could just tag along with them and pitch in for gas or something.
yeah, yeah. I mean, I have some assets that I'd have to sell at a loss right now, just due to the price of them right now. But it might go back up in terms of my financial things,
Yeah.
and I have some other money that I don't know how much of it is, but like, I mean, I have it, but I might owe a significant portion of it to somebody else, but they just haven't asked to collect on it. But just
Mm.
that's family, but it was just like so, I'd use that. And generally, I'm interested in this sort of thing, but I mean, this sort of group to maybe to my detriment because I generally just kind of suck at making money, you know. And like, and my sob story is like I just got really confused in college and didn't know where to go, so just kind of got in
Mm,
my head and did my own thing, whether it's useful or not. But I
yeah,
mean, it formed this group, so yeah,
yeah,
and
yeah. Like,
creating value at least. I hope, but like not doing traditional corporate jobs right now. Although I'm
right.
at a conference, but I don't know what to say. Didn't bring my resume or anything. I wasn't gonna go. But then at other point, it was just like, oh yeah, a friend was saying, oh, I'm gonna go up here. You can tag along if you want, sort of thing. Loki was out
Yeah,
here, so that's why I'm here. I was just like, yeah. So I don't even know if I'm gonna get a badge because I did the no swag option, and um, I guess if they have some left over and there were some no shows, maybe I'll get one. I don't know. That'd be cool,
yeah,
but at least I get to go up there, and like uh, I'm trying to just press forward, and I just hope that the fact that I'm broke doesn't make people assume, oh, he just must suck at stuff. That's what I internally think.
no,
Yeah.
no,
So
no.
like,
Like here, like I got super lucky. I feel like I'm just super grateful because like I don't know. I was gonna go to college and I ended up going to this like shitty college that I just kind of like stumbled into a computer information systems degree. Like I didn't even really like. I was like what am I gonna do? I don't know. Like maybe I should be a nurse. Maybe I should like. I'm like my brother works on computers. Maybe I should just do computers. So like I don't know. I just kind of stumbled into it, and just recently kind of stumbled into web development, and then like followed interests until they all led to kind of like where I'm at now. So like I'm trying to like even though I have like a day job, I really like don't want to do that day job, and I just want to work on like pattern journal full time and like solve real problems. But the problem with that is it's all public good architecture stuff. It's not really like I don't know. Like I really don't give a shit about business models and stuff. Like I don't want to have to deal with like how are we gonna make money? How are we gonna skim off the top? Like I don't really like want to think or
yeah,
solve that problem. I just want to build shit and like solve
yeah,
problems
the
for
same
people
thing. And I
and
was like, well, how do I monetize like everything I do? It's just like
hmm
it's like you know,
yeah, it's like it leaches energy when you have to think about it, it's like so annoying
and
and then you have
like
to like compromise things in order to like make a profit and I don't want to do that.
and like potentially,
But
why do I do it to raise money? I mean, there's a potential where I could like sign up for something and like make more money, but it's just like, oh man, I'm just like, I just want
hmm
to get enough to go to D webcamp. I don't want to.
right,
I don't
right.
want to. If I can make 1,800, I don't want to make 5,000. It's just like I'm lazy. But I think that maybe because I live at my parents' place, I just was like maybe I should just like move away somewhere and like scare the dickens out of myself and force myself to like try to make more money than I do. Oh no,
Yeah,
because I've like been trying
yeah,
to like just kind of staying in Denver, moving to Denver or something, and just like not really having a plan, but just like sort of trying to poke things around to see if it works out, rather than like the really conservative thing I've done is just like go to events every once in a while, and then like the energy goes down, but like and then I get sort of in my zone a little bit where I'm back in my place, and like I'm doing really sophisticated stuff, really niche stuff that like 99.9% of people have never heard about or are not studying.
yeah,
But it's crazy interesting to me, and then like this is kind of the spear production thing is kind of this anarchist thing of like, oh, what if the world if people could do what they want and get rewarded for that and find other people, and not have the annoying hiring process where you have to put in these certain degrees and fit into these certain job descriptions and search around and just
yeah,
like find everything that you need. You can make this like really more intelligent and like maybe it work. It's kind of like this pain point. I was like, I sort of started it because I was like, oh, this whole chem thing, and I was like, this is kind of laid out for me. I was just like, this is what I told to do. I didn't really like being there. I didn't really. I felt like I was pushed down this thing, and I wanted to do something else. And so, like,
right,
probably other forms of engineering, really. And like, rather than like figure out the complication of like um, how I had like a recommendation. Well, it's a long story where it's like a series of failures where like generally like only my dad could really recommend me, and like other people was like not that like this is like, oh, I just don't know enough about what you're doing, you know. It was like conflict of interest, so I
Yeah.
had like no recommendation, and the whole time I was trying to be honest and like I wasn't paying for my college, and then like so, and I couldn't force myself to like go to an interview and just like tell them the story. Like I really liked it, but I just wanted to tell. I wanted to be honest. I wanted to tell them like what I was really into.
Hmm.
And so like what I was really into, what I wanted to pursue, what I dreamed about, was not in accordance to like with the degree I was pursuing. It was more mechanical or electrical engineering stuff or aerospace because it's like I really
Yeah.
like things that will go fast or you know or you know do things or that or make a lot of noise or something. Um, that sounded exciting. Things with a lot of kinetic energy. Um,
Yeah.
Space exploration and stuff. But like, I don't know. It was like they didn't really want my degree. I was like the black. I had like the black sheep degree. It was just like, oh yeah, it's sort of interested. We have these small amount of jobs and this interesting. You know, like even though I kind of have the training
Hmm.
to like probably check it out the other fields or something. It was just like, oh, you're a chemist, you know, this sort of thing. So it was like there's that partitions of like all these different degrees, even though they say like later after you get through the big gateway door of like all the job descriptions and I guess like the human resources department. I don't want to really I don't know really actually know, but like it was sort of thing like you have this big gatekeeper, and yeah, then you can sort of become a more niche engineer, like not really commensurate with your degree, but like when you're first getting into it, it's just like whether you get internships like right in alignment to what you've been studying and
Yeah.
etc. And I don't know, it's just like I probably played a sort of big part of it, but it ended up kind of becoming a mess that I just
Mm.
yeah. And then I got into computers and the hacker space and makerspace thing, and I sort of started about this sort of thing. So I kind of started building a parallel world because I guess I didn't really know how to deal with that pain or like, oh, I just thought, well, maybe it would have been easier, but I just thought, well, I'm gonna owe like tens of thousands of dollars to a university, and I was just like, I don't know, I should have done that, I don't know, but didn't do that. But it's building my own world, building my own economic system outside
Yeah.
of the centralized sort of thing. Um, I don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe that was a bad path, but that's kind of where I'm at. And I have at least I have a field of knowledge, and I know there's people out there who kind of want to think that way and like want to work that way, but
Hmm.
whether it's actually realizable, I don't know. I mean, there's a lot of complexity, I guess, to make that sort of system work, and how do you bootstrap it, and where do you get it started, and sort of thing. And it's just like it's
Hmm.
taken a long time because I sort of got kind of discouraged along the way, and like wasn't um, really able to boil it down or really convey it to people in such a way to do it, and there was like so many parts to really work on, and like I think it's better.
Yeah.
I think it's better than it was because the space has really changed and matured, and things that so that people who are able to build teams and find the connections or whatever are building tools that now I can kind of use, and like so
Yeah.
it's an easier. It, the plateau is resin, so I feel like I am easier to closer to the goal, right? Um,
Hmm.
but for better or worse, like along the way, I kind of I did research, and like I believe I probably know about some things that um, like some of these pages probably are like on Internet Archive right now, or like it's just like you had to be in the room to like know. So I had to like have the familiarity with like the progression of different experiments that have gone along the way to try to build a distributed or decentralized kind of way. But although probably haven't been in
Right.
the Ethereum or blockchain space, so that's actually not that big. Well, the development side, Jason is like an exception, but there's not like a lot of people that really do that. It's not really a center of. Yeah, I mean, even though it's decentralized, there's still centers of community, local community for that, and
Right.
like so like going to East Denver is like really a wake up call. It's like, oh wow, there's like a whole lot of things that I didn't really know about that are going on, you know. And then like
Yeah.
in my own training of like searching the web and searching for the next thing. It's always a logical progression of from what I already know. And so
Hmm.
if I put myself in an environment where I just get these things that I never thought about, you know, it's just like surprise, and that's kind of what East Denver was about. It's what it's
Yeah.
been. I didn't go this year. It's just because this is like it was kind of a thing where yeah, I kind of had the cash, but I was like I really had to make all that money back because I wasn't sure. Like, oh, I'll say I have like 6 or 7K in like savings, but I like owe most of that to family. Then if I go and I spend $1,000 to go out there, I'm gonna have to make all that back to like in the case if they
Yeah.
ever ask for the money back, it's like, oh, sorry, I don't have that. I double spent it, you know. So
Yeah.
so I didn't want to do that. I don't know. Maybe I should have. Who knows? But like, it's kind of this. I feel like I'm in this sticky situation where I just feel sort of desperate and I'm just not quite sure what to do. And like
Yeah.
I have this stacking problem where I look back at like all my failures and all my conditioning of like how things haven't been working. That I sort of project that into the future. So I don't know, but like I don't know, but like I guess I was talking to my mom and says, "Oh, you're going to this event. Why don't you like look for jobs and stuff?" I don't know how to quite look for jobs, but I guess I could introduce myself to some of the booths. But like myself just was like I don't know how to make this. I mean, probably maybe the most realizable thing for this or the best idea I think I have is like using superfluids work or what is it? Streaming quadratic funding, which is
Oh
kind of a
yeah.
thing, and try to take Graven introduced it at East Denver and try to introduce that with like the RAA stuff and the value flows,
Yeah.
and maybe use that as some way to kind of bootstrap kind of money into this system. And since that's kind of a new thing, maybe people are like, oh, he's working on a SQF project, and like since I predict that's going to be a thing. Oh, what? And then we'll start learning about like the other thing that are going on, and that will kind of bootstrap it'll be the bootloader for the other stuff. Um,
Yeah. Like how I'm thinking about it for my own project is I need to clarify what I'm building, and I feel like I have to a degree, but it needs to have some kind of um, clear representation online, and I need to be able to kind of like explain it to people very easily, which is difficult because the kind of stuff that we're looking to do, like across our projects and everything, is so multifaceted and has so many layers that you kind of have to like describe all of the layers in order for the whole picture to make sense. So
yeah,
it's like really hard to describe. But um, the way I'm thinking about it is like if I have that picture and that representation that I can explain to people,
yeah,
then I can make, I can find other projects in which the layers in my representation so are needed in theirs,
mm-hmm.
and then pitch, some kind of deal where we're building open source software that, is it's kind of like mutual aid, right? Like this company needs it and we need it, and so it's like I'm getting paid to build, open source software that applies for my project as well as other projects. And so I
Okay,
think that's where like the quadratic funding, Gitcoin, like all that kind of stuff comes in, because there's so many other projects that need these kind of like public good like resources, and that's essentially what we're building is like public goods, and it's like good luck trying to turn a public good into a money printing machine. Like it's just not going to happen. So it's like So you need to find funding opportunities um, that don't come with strings attached and that are also like, you know, like, and I've got like different options and stuff that I'm like looking into, and maybe I'll send them your way too. Like,
Yeah,
but
sure.
but like
I mean, yeah. I'm
ultimately,
wondering.
I feel like building the like identifying the modular pieces that need to be built, and then identifying, you know, funding opportunities, like kind of casting a wide net, funding opportunities around the modular pieces built, and like build them out in like kind of like micro contract installments. That's kind of how I'm like strategizing of how to get it done. But yeah.
Or like Gitcoins. Yeah. Huh. Okay. Yeah, I have to really figure it out. Oh, there's a phone ringing. And then it stopped. Hang on. I might have to cut this off, but give me a minute.
Okay.
Hello? Extending. I do not know. I'm staying with Lawrence, and Lawrence would know. So I'll go and try to find him and try to get him in touch with you, I guess. Is that a good course of action? Could I let you know in the next 20, 30 minutes? Yeah, I'll try to get down there, maybe 40, but I have to walk over to the commitment center, so try to find them. All right. Oh, Gabriel?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was the front desk. I have to go find Lawrence because they said, "Oh, are you gonna extend the stay and stay another night?" And that's up in the air. That's a Lawrence decision, I think, or other people who are associated with the room. I'm staying in the room. It was a course of events. I'm not sure how all things came out together, but I have to get some more information. So
Oh, okay. All right. Well, good luck. Hope it works out.
yeah, but thanks for sticking around. And
Yeah.
all right,
Yeah. I'll talk to you later.
okay, bye.
See ya.